My name is Sarah Lenzi, and I'm the Minister of the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood. A hearty thank you to our entire team who helped make these Sunday morning services possible. Ron Leedy, Benny Cresso, Jeannie Namitz, Jack Lore, Kristen Plumley, and Carol Wolf. The Unitarian Society of Ridgewood was founded in 1896 and has, for these last 124 years, been a beacon of liberal faith. Our congregation is a welcoming one. Whatever your gender, sexual orientation, education, history, race, ethnicity, or age, we welcome you in your wholeness. Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal faith that does not ask you to believe any particular thing about God or the meaning of existence. What we do ask here at USR and in Unitarian Universalism in general is that you engage in thoughtful consideration of your own life, your beliefs, your actions, your visions for what may be. And we do share, along with other Unitarian Universalists around the world, a belief in the interdependence of all that is, in our shared past and our shared future, and a belief in the power of love to create a world that is just, with liberation and freedom and safety for all people. Email is our primary method of communication in this time of quarantine and physical distance. So please, if you aren't getting our Wednesday e-blast or the daily listing of the Zoom room offerings, contact our office. Also, be in touch if you just want to learn more about the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood or about Unitarian Universalism in general. Also, if you've been joining us for a while and you're considering membership, contacting the office is the way to go. There's lots of information on our website at uuridgewood.org, or you can email at 113cottage@gmail.com, and we'll put both of those into the chat. I do have an announcement this morning. As things start to open up and we are able to move a bit more freely, we have t-shirts. So whether you are going out for a walk or you are social distancing with a friend on the grass, there's no better way to show your love for the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood and to tell the world about us. The t-shirts are awesome looking, and the process is super easy to order one. Thank you, Carol Wolf and Jan Butcher. The link will be in the chat, so you can just click right there and go ahead and order your USR t-shirts. You can also find it on the Facebook page, or you can just ask anybody to help you navigate to where you need to be. You'll not only be dressing in style and showing your pride, but it's also a fundraiser for USR, so please check them out. As things start to ease a bit for the moment and we move more fully in summer, we're grateful for the reminder that this beloved community grounds us, looks after us, and helps us grow. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Unitarian Universalism shares a belief in our oneness and a belief in hope through love. Our flaming chalice stands as a symbol of those shared beliefs. This flame represents the spark of the sacred in each of us, the unique individual in each of us, the possibility in each of our lives. If you have a chalice at home, we invite you to light yours as we light ours. Please join us in the words that will be on your screen. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the energy of action as we gather together in the circle of community.
Now come and listen. The hot days have arrived. The long sunshine has arrived. Summer, with its calls to fun, excitement, freshness, has arrived. But still, it matters that we know how to be quiet. Still, it matters that we know how to breathe deeply. Still, it matters that we know how to listen. Hear our centering sound. Let it help you pause in the heat and the hurry. Breathe and listen. Now, I don't want you to laugh, but I got a scooter. We came home to the city on Thursday, and with the numbers being what they are, we're going out each day for some sunshine and some exercise. The reality is that me on foot, I just can't keep up with my children when they're on their scooters. They've learned to whip around corners and speed so fast on the street, I cannot keep up with them. So I got myself a scooter. Now, I am not one for putting myself in positions that make me feel like I don't have full control, but I needed a way to keep up. And yesterday, we took out my scooter for the first time. There we were, all four of us, masks on, helmets on, scooting. My kids were great at encouraging me despite my fears, and I was afraid. The truth is, I would hop off if I started to go too fast, or if the ground looked rocky, or if we started to go down a hill too steep. I am still learning on the scooter how to trust myself, learning where my center of gravity is, learning how to keep myself balanced and upright, learning how to bend just enough to make that turn and stay on, learning how to stop smoothly and safely or abruptly when it's necessary. It will take practice, no doubt. I'll need to go out again and again on the scooter to really feel comfortable balancing and braking and zooming. But even yesterday, with all of the hesitation and stopping and starting, I got a taste of what it felt like to go fast as I let myself be free on some of those straightaways. A taste of what it felt like not to care if I looked silly in a helmet or absurd at nearly 40 on a scooter. I got to feel the sunshine on my face, the wind whizzing by my ears. It was exciting a little bit. It reminded me of being a kid on my bike, traversing those very same paths with a sense of possibility and freedom. For those little moments, even though I was still responsible for my 3 children, I had a sense of being me, with all the fear and the trepidation, but also the excitement and the hope and the nostalgia. We rode to the Four Freedoms Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial Park here where we live. And there, carved into stone, is that FDR quote that details what he believed to be those 4 basic freedoms to which every person is entitled. Freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. And I found myself reflecting on what it means to have to be afraid because of who you are. Your skin color, your gender identity, your sexual preference, the way you dress, the way you talk. That is a fear no one should have to feel. Riding a scooter is a small thing, but the feeling wasn't small, and it reminded me yet again of just how important it is that every person be free to be wholly themselves. This is Pride Month. Protesters demanding change continue to fight as the fight for recognition that Black Lives Matter goes on. Democracy still struggles and power grabs are made as attempts continue to thwart investigations into the highest offices. Around the nation today, folks will grapple with Father's Day, some rejoicing with beloved fathers, others mourning the fresh loss of a father, still others contending with emotions because they don't have one or had one that failed to embody the best values of fathering. And this is Pride Month. A time to celebrate and uplift the lives of LGBTQ people around the world, people who deserve the chance to be exactly who they are. So today we're talking about wholeness, about becoming our truest selves, about embracing and celebrating each other for exactly who we are. We do this aware that not everyone is free in this way, but committed to building a world where everyone can be.
My name is Jean Namitz. And today, among many special things, we honor our youth as they transition from high school into young adulthood. Honoring our Unitarian Universalism rites of passage is one we call bridging. In it, we recognize the important step of a young person out into the world. Bridging honors high school seniors who are moving into young adulthood, and welcomes them into the rewards and responsibilities of adult life.
Traditionally, if we were in our physical space, we would have Andrew come to the front and we would build a bridge across Anderson with a gathering of youth at one side, a gathering of young adults at the other, and you, our congregation, in the middle to bear witness. This morning, instead, we have individuals to represent those groups. We use the bridge, of course, because it has two sides and requires a journey. Andrew has navigated his childhood, a time that we all know comes with joys and limits. Now he steps into a vast frontier of the unknown, full of boundless opportunities and new challenges. There, our young adults and all of us adults stand ready to welcome you, Andrew. We remind you that we are kindred spirits who wish you well in life and who love you unconditionally. Now, Kristen, are you able to? Okay, I'm gonna unmute you. Kristen is gonna stand in for the congregation, the part that everyone would normally say all together. I'm trying to unmute you, Kristen. There.
Andrew, whatever the next steps of your journey, we, the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood, expect to accompany you in the values you have learned and in the lessons you have integrated into your life. We will be connected with you as Unitarian Universalists wherever you go. We have stood by you in all days past, and we stand by you now. Our faith is in you. You are our best hope for a future world of greater human love and peace on earth.
I am grateful for your love and support in my growing so far. I am grateful for your faith in me as I move into the future.
We are
We
never
are never complete. We are never finished. We are always yet to be. May we grow to our greatest potential and nurture this in others along the way.
I represent the community of children and youth that you are leaving. As you cross the bridge, know that you have set a good example for us. We will always be here for you, and we'll see you on the other side.
Andrew, I represent the community of young adults that you are entering. We are excited to receive you into this next phase of your life. Our wish is that you may, without fear, bring your energy, your passions, your openness, your whole self to this, your new peer group.
When we dedicate and name infants, we bless with a flower and water from the water ceremony. Today, Andrew, we bless you using words adapted from those we use to bless those who have just begun life. Andrew, we bless you as you begin your new path. We bless your feet for all the places you will travel. May you never forget you have a home here. We bless your hands for all you will do. May you work for the world we dream of together. We bless your mouth for all you will say. May you remember the lessons of kindness you were taught. We bless your ears for all you will hear. May you be able to discern truth and meaning in others' words. We bless your eyes for all you will see. May you find the beautiful in all things. We bless your heart for all you will feel. May you always remember the love of this community, no matter how far away you are. We bless you, Andrew, and we wish you safety, health, and fulfillment.
Thank you for sharing your childhood and your youth with us, Andrew. And we are excited to support your journey into the future. Go in peace and with love. And to echo what Ethan just said, know you can always come home and that you belong to us. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you. Every Sunday that we gather, we ask for an offering to support the work of this congregation. Our mission statement here at the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood is to grow in mind and spirit, to act with love for justice, and to transform ourselves and the world. Transformation. Our mission is no less than the transformation of our own minds and hearts and of the entire world. As I know you know, that takes work. It takes all those volunteer hours you put in. It takes passion and the sharing of your talents, and it also takes money. We've been so grateful for all of the ways that you have showed up during this strange time, with your hearts and minds ready to grow, with your talents helping us continue our work, and with your generous offerings. If ever there was a time for transformation in our nation, this is it. This moment asks a lot of us, and we will stay committed to what at USR we have always sought: a world of justice, freedom, and equality. We know that in this moment there are among us those who are unable to financially support the congregation and instead find themselves in need of support. If that is you, please let us help. You can reach out to me or to the caring teams. And for those of you who can give, please keep doing so with the mission of this place in mind. Your gifts are truly appreciated. On your screen, you will see a few ways to give. If you're on Realm with us, you can give right through the app. And if you want to learn more about Realm, please email the office. You can also send a check to our address at 113 Cottage Place in Ridgewood, New Jersey, 07450. You can use the Donate Now button on the website, or you can use the very easy text to give right from your cell phone in the comfort of your own home. Just text UU Ridgewood Plate with the dollar amount to 73256. That's 73256. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Every Sunday, whether we gather in person or virtually, we take time to come into quiet together, to breathe deeply, to try to find the stillness of our own hearts. Then, as we sit together and breathe, we open ourselves to the deep truths inside us. We turn our attention to issues of lasting significance, and we commit ourselves to the future. I invite you now into that time of quiet. Please settle your body into your seat as comfortably as you can. If it helps to close your eyes, you can. Take a deep breath, slowly inhaling and then slowly exhaling. Focus on your breath as it moves in and out. And let your body relax. From the tip of your toes to the top of your head. Roll back your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let your body relax. Bring your focus to your breath. Invite your mind and your heart to be calm. This morning, on this Father's Day, we give thanks. We give thanks for the fathers we have known in our lives, fathers by blood or by heart, adoptive fathers, uncles, grandfathers, friends, teachers, fathers for whom we used that name and those we called by other names. We give thanks for the fathers that showed us kindness, nurtured and protected us, taught us and challenged us, mentored us and gave us courage. We give thanks for the fathers by any name who helped us become ourselves and who embraced and celebrated us for who we are. Those who taught us to be true to ourselves. And today, on this day of celebration, we also hold in our hearts all those who never wanted to become fathers but found themselves thrust into that role. all those who took on fathering where it wasn't required of them, all those who suffered at the hands of people who were supposed to be fathers and instead showed cruelty and anger, all those who feel only disappointment when they hear the word father, all those fathers who, for whatever reason, can no longer father their own children, all those who felt the lack of a father and those who never minded the absence of one, all those who wished to be fathers but who have struggled to find ways to live into that role. We remember that days like today are complicated. Each of us has a unique relationship to that word, father. Some good, some bad, some just plain confusing. But each of us also has the chance to take on the best of paternal values. Nurturing, encouraging, protecting, helping others find wholeness. Our world is in desperate need of people who value each other's wholeness. Even as we recognize fathers this morning, we remember the fights for justice ongoing around us. The fight for Black lives to matter. The fight for Indigenous peoples' rights. The fight for the LGBTQ community to be freed from prejudice. We long for and we work for a day when every person is celebrated regardless of their race or who they love or what gender they are. May those who suffer silently in fear of living their true lives know that they are not alone. There are people who love you, who will love you just as you are. May those who suffer for daring to live their true and honest lives know that they are not alone. There are people who love you, who will love you, just as you are. May those who suffer for simply existing know that they are not alone. There are people who love you, who will love you, just as you are. This world become one of embrace and celebration, one in which every person knows just how beautiful they are, just as they are. So may it be. A year or two ago, I was sitting at the dining room table, actually, about where I am right now, with my dad. I honestly can't remember what we were doing. I just remember that the kids were playing in the living room right over there, noisy and rambunctious in our shared line of sight. Without preamble and with no explanation after, my father said, without looking at me, his eyes on the boys, "I wish I would be around to see who they become." In the moment, I remember saying something like, "Don't say things like that, you'll be around a long time." I remember speaking from my own fear and anxiety about what it will mean when my father dies. But I've thought about what he said over and over since then. He was giving voice to his own feelings around aging, his awareness that he will, even if he lives a long time, miss some of the evolution of these children he loves dearly, even though they also drive him mad sometimes. He was speaking aloud those same thoughts we all have. Death is inevitable, and what will I miss? What will I be sorry to miss? And he was also speaking the truth of what it means to grow up. We change. The reality of our human lives is that we will change. Throughout our lives, as Stephen F. Smith recognizes in that first reading from this morning, we wrap little pieces of ourselves around each other, we hold each other, eventually we let go. We begin as these tiny babies, crying and red-faced and new and full of promise and potential. All around us, hopefully, if we are lucky, are folks that love us, who want the best for us, who want us to become something wonderful. Even those folks, though, sometimes forget that the best thing for us to become is just ourselves. Even those who love us often have unspoken or spoken hopes for us. Maybe to get more education than they did, or a job that feels more stable, or maybe they hope for us to find a partner or to fit in better than they did, or just to be normal and blend with others. Maybe really all they hope for is for us to be happy, but so often they have an idea of what will do that, what it would take for us to find happiness. As we grow, we feel the weight of expectation. We learn what is proper or right or wanted from us. And too often it makes it harder for us to find ourselves. Sometimes, even with love and support, we grow up thinking we have to be something different from what we are. Stronger, prettier, thinner, smarter, less feminine, more feminine, whiter, straighter, more normal. The list goes on, and that's from folks who love us. They don't mean to do it. But expectations, sometimes accidentally communicated or implicit, or often even imagined by us, have a way of weaseling in. And then out in the world, we know are people who will hate us, treat us badly, view us as lesser for all manner of things. Our skin color, our size, we weren't educated like them, or because our brains work differently from theirs. That list is endless too. Sometimes those people have true institutional power over us. They can make laws that make it legal to fire us from our jobs. They can make it so we can be refused a wedding cake. They can make it so that our very lives are valued less when they are taken. The pressure from outside can be so strong. The messages to conform, to stuff down our individuality so that we blend right in with others, the call to deny who we are in our wholeness can then be driven home by violence and oppression that makes it legitimately unsafe for us to be who we are. Too often across this wide world, it is a matter of survival. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, that for so many, it is a matter of survival to hide who they are. In this moment, when we are watching shifts on our national stage and the thriving of the Black Lives Matter movement, a movement that cries out, "This is my flesh, my body, my personhood, my wholeness, and it is valuable and beautiful and perfect just as it is." I've been thinking as that flourishes about the ways we learn to hide the things that we theoretically can hide. Black folks can't hide their Blackness. And for centuries, they have faced violence and oppression and hatred just for being who they are. It's a tragedy beyond comprehension, the lives that have been lost, destroyed, and forever altered because of our system that privileges white skin. But we also live with a heteronormative patriarchal system. For centuries, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender folks, along with many others whose sexuality or gender doesn't conform to stereotypical norms, have had to hide their fullness because of others' fears and prejudices. I know lesbian couples who've had to pretend they were just friends, transgender people who spent decades living a lie, bisexual folks who've been forced to declare for one team or the other because people don't believe that bisexuality is real, asexual people who get asked what's wrong with them, non-binary and gender non-conforming friends who face being misgendered intentionally or shamed for living their true lives. Too often in this nation and abroad, it can be unsafe to live your life as you, because our system still insists that straight and partnered and cisgender is the way to be. It will come as no surprise to many of you that transgender women of color live at the intersection of these identities and face racial and sexual and gender bias-based violence regularly. You may not know that queer and trans Black women were among those who started the Black Lives Matter movement. That at the heart of that movement is also a call to honor the lives of LGBTQ folks of color whose struggle has been that much more difficult because they live without white privilege. We grow up in this country aware that as far as society is concerned, the optimal thing to be is a straight white male. And many of us learn how to live our lives oriented around that truth, because to do otherwise would risk violence or ostracism by our families. So some of us learn to find safety through code switching. If you don't know that phrase, look it up. It's about how in different contexts we shift things like our language or our behavior in order to fit in better. We learn which spaces are safe to be real in and which require us to put on an act to be safe. Some of us learn to stuff down our longings and feelings altogether, embracing others' visions for us, completely denying what our deepest heart knows to be the truth about ourselves. Some of us act out in other ways, unsure where to put the energy of pretending to be something other than we are. And I've been thinking about how much is lost when people are asked to deny their wholeness. The amount of energy that must go into being safe, into fitting in. What else might that energy bring? What beauty and wonder and awesomeness might this world know if every single person in it could be safe in their own body as they define it? Safe no matter who they love. What would the world look like if folks could become themselves fully and wholly without fear? I look at my children, white children who identify at the moment as cisgender boys, and I know that although they will benefit the most from the system we have built, they will also suffer at its hands. They will suffer because it's a system that expects from them anger and violence, not softness. It expects manliness, not dresses or makeup. It expects them not to cry and not to fear and not to love with the kind of melting wholeheartedness we allow for women. Let me be clear, they will undoubtedly benefit immeasurably. But I'm their mama, and I see too the ways that their beautiful souls and their tender hearts and their growing morality stands to suffer because this is a system that breaks all of us, that works to the detriment of all of our deepest and truest selves. I look at them and I have that same longing my father did to see who they become. And I fear that they will sense my expectations, even those of which I am unconscious, and the world's expectations, and they will become something other than who they really are. I hope the world is changing. I hope I'm conscious enough to get out of their way. But it wouldn't be enough for my children to grow up without fear and become. I want every single child across the world to have the opportunity to become. And I want every single adult who was denied that choice by parents or society or friends to have the safety to shed the overbearing pressure of our system and become. Because I believe that that's what we're here for. We're here to become ourselves in the most honest, authentic, deep, and true way. And what violence have we done to generation upon generation of beloved fellow humans by not allowing them to become? And for what? Greed, fear, religiously bred hate? Certainly not for any good reason. None of us has the right to deny another human their fullness, their wholeness, their own becoming, if that becoming is true and deep and led by love. There is, at the moment, a movement in Unitarian Universalism to add an 8th principle to our list of 7. Some of you may have heard about this. The way our governance system works, it might be a couple of years before this proposed principle reaches the floor at a general assembly in order to be voted on. But I hope that when it gets there, we are all on board. The proposed principle reads like this. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying toward spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. I want wholeness for all of us. And I believe that this proposed principle is right in its implication. We will only find true wholeness for us all when we can dismantle the oppressions that live in us and in our institutions. Only then can all of us flourish. And we want nothing less than the flourishing of all people. Alex Capitan's final words from our reading this morning ring in my ears. In our faith tradition, we don't love people despite their differences or because they can't help being different. We love people because of their differences and because diversity enriches our world and our communities. In the final reckoning, there is only one choice that will be judged, and that's our choices. I hope we choose love. I hope we choose love, because that's where it begins. Letting go of expectation and judgment and normal and fear and perfectionism, and instead embracing a love that yearns for each person to become, that yearns for a world free from fear, that yearns for wholeness, yours and mine and everyone's. And this is a love that you offer yourself and that you offer to others. This is the love the world needs. I truly hope that here in this community, our children feel safe enough to become without fear and to be themselves. And I truly hope that here in this community, you, no matter how old you are or what you have had to do in the past to be safe, I hope that you here feel safe enough to become without fear and to speak the truth about who you are. I believe that all of us can find wholeness, that we're called to find it, and that we're called to help each other on that journey. I commit as ever to walk the journey of becoming with you, as I know you commit to walk with each other. May we build a world in which each of us can become ourselves, following the longings of our hearts, keeping each other safe and finding wholeness. So may it be.
Please join in the words for extinguishing the chalice. They will be on your screen. We extinguish the flame, but may the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the energy of action burn bright in our hearts until we are together again.